Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to MTG Foil. Today we've got a guest deck. It's Marvin. He's living 150 kilometers south of me. That means that we're gonna do this meeting online. He's gonna show us a beautiful legacy deck, a pretty deck. He made the video all by himself, so that's a first. I really like the video, but let's contact him and let him tell us a little bit more about his deck. So welcome, Marvin, to MTG Foil. You're gonna
Thanks for having me.
Yes. I'm honored to have you here. You're one of the biggest legacy tournament organizers in the Netherlands. Tell me a little bit more about the Bazaar of Boxes before we dive in your beautiful deck.
Bazaar of Boxes started out as an idea to 3D print deck boxes. When we were doing that, it took quite some time to get the final product. So in the meanwhile, we're starting to have some sort of marketing campaign. We started with doing streams on Twitch and eventually started organizing tournaments that are actually going pretty well. The fourth tournament will be announced pretty soon, and we're aiming to get 50 people, so it's pretty decent numbers. So the idea of Bazaar of Boxes is me, Michel, Teus, and Ruben, and it is originally a web shop that sells deck boxes, but it's more becoming like a group that tries to keep legacy alive. So we have the tournaments and we stream each week to keep people interested in legacy.
Yes, and you do this all because of the love for Magic the Gathering, right?
Yeah, it's purely to keep the format going and just because we enjoy playing Magic. The financial part is not really important. We spend way more money on getting up and running that we're making. So
yes,
it's purely for the game.
It's amazing, yeah. And you played Magic for a long time. Can you tell me a little bit how long you play Magic?
I started in 2000. I started playing Extended, and then I played most formats. I think I played Standard for a block, what it's called, like one cycle. But the thing is with Standard is that I kind of attached to my deck, and that it changes a lot. It's not really for me. We played Modern with a group. Well, a few people from Bazaar of Boxes were there as well. We went each Monday to Guido. He's the owner of Magic Markt in Breda. And but even after a few months, for some reason, it slowly died down. And eventually, we didn't go anymore. Maybe a lack of interest, or I don't know. People maybe didn't like the state of the format at the moment. And so then I sold all my Modern cards and just put it into Legacy. So now I'm full on Legacy.
Yes. And what made you decide to make your deck foil?
Actually, the reason was Daniel from Magic Markt. He got a foil Delver, and he's like, do you want to buy this for, I think it was 6 years or something. It was the half of the original price. He's like, I'm not sure if I'm going to buy this, then I'm probably going to foil it out. I'm not gonna have one random foil in my deck. So I was really like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy this. Eventually I did, and 5 years later, I just went all in and completed the deck.
Yes, you told me also that you were done collecting with your foil deck, or with your Delver deck. So what's the reason why it was?
That's also like the collecting part. So when my deck was complete, like non-foil complete, I was like, I want to collect stuff, and now Magic cards, and now I cannot collect anymore because the deck is done. So the next best thing is to foil it out. So when I got that foil, it helped, but also just it gave me a reason to collect more cards. Yes. So that's also a motivation to do that.
Yeah, it's nice. What I like about your videos, you recorded it yourself, you edited it yourself, and you know now how long it takes to do that. But what I liked about your video a lot was that you told us a lot about how you collected the cards, where it came from. So it's another level. I really liked that part about the video. A lot of Magic players cannot get into Legacy because it's expensive. That's why Bazaar of Boxes allow people to play proxies as well if they want to, which is a good thing if you want to keep a Legacy alive. But I understand because of the reason why Legacy is so expensive, a lot of people don't know the format that well. So can you explain me a little bit about what your deck is doing?
So UR Delver is a deck that is based on Delver. That's the namesake card. Play Delver turn 1, hopefully, and it flips, hopefully turn 2, and then it just protects the queen. So you have a lot of counter spells to protect Delver so that it can attack each turn. It has flying, so there's a good chance opponents can block it. And eventually they probably have a way to end Delver, but in that at that moment you probably did a lot of damage already, and then you have lightning bolts to end it. Now with Murkite, it's the same story, but now when the Delver is dead, there's a good chance you can play Murkite, and then Murkite can end it.
Okay, yes. Yeah, it's a beautiful deck. How long did it took you to get it completely foil, if I may ask?
Around 5 years.
Wow, yeah.
And sniping good deals, going to Rudy from Goat Enterprise, trading cards there. I think that's like Magic Card Market and Rudy are my main goals, main places where I buy and sell Magic cards.
Yeah, I think so too. That's a good place to buy Magic cards.
Yeah.
Yes, I really liked once again how you made the video. I admire the way that you remember a lot of cards, how you obtain them. For me, they just arrive here in the mailbox and I just put them in my collection. But but for you, it's So I really liked that aspect of your video. So let's dive into it. And thank you, all the people you mentioned in your tournament. There's a link in the video description for the people who are interested in this, so you can join them and watch the live streams of Bazaar of Boxes.
Yeah, each Thursday at between 8 and 9, somewhere between, we stream for around 3 hours. So
yeah, it's amazing.
Each week.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thanks.
Get your popcorn ready. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Marvin, and I'll see you in the deck tech.
Welcome to my deck showcase. I'm Marvin from Bazaar of Boxes. We're a group of Magic enthusiasts playing Paper Legacy on stream. Today I'm going to showcase UR Delver. I saw the MTG foil upload from Mono Red Prison from Case, and I got inspired to showcase my deck as well. Also for his channel, MTG Foil. I first started collecting my Delver deck in 2017 when I got my first foil Delver from Daniel from Magic Market. I was kinda, not really the right word, cautious, or I don't want to like commit in getting that Delver, because I know that I'm a kind of completionist, so when I get one foil Delver, it's not gonna stay alone in that deck, so I'll probably get 4 foil Delvers, and then you get the creature based foil, and then it will cascade into craziness and try to get the deck completely foil. Well, if you continue watching this video, you will probably see where this ends. In total, it took me around 5 years to complete this deck, and my main goal was to get all the Delver deck variants foil. So the first foil card for this deck is actually the foil Delver. I got, of course, 4 of them. Not that long ago it was actually cut down to 2 because of the Ragavan monkey craziness, but it got banned, so we're back to 4 foil Delvers. The next card in the creature base is the Murkite. We got 4 of them as well in the Delver deck. It also got a lot of hate at the moment. It could be that the next card will be banned in UR Delver. And also a lot of other decks are playing it as well. Control decks are playing it, so yeah, it's a bit strong, I guess. Casting a 8/8 flyer for 2 mana is pretty strong. The next blue creature in the deck is the Brazen Borer. After the Ragavan ban, it became popular again as a one-off. It saved me a lot of trouble. 2020 flying, indestructible creatures, chalices are one. Things that really can take over control from Delver. The next creature in the deck is the Dragon's Rage Chandler. It really fits well in the Delver strategy because it's a 1 mana creature that becomes a 3/3 flying pretty quickly. Also, the Surveil trigger really helps by manipulating which card you draw, same as all the cantrips. It creates some sort of card selection so that you don't have that many death draws. Next up are the spells. We start with a Legacy Classic, the Brainstorm. These are the Mercading Mask printings. Funny story about these Brainstorms is that I ordered them on Magic Card Market and they never, well, they were delivered, but I never received the card. I then mailed around with the seller and he was like, yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. Then I requested if he had a picture of the envelope, and I noticed that the street number wasn't filled in, so the address wasn't complete. And then I was like, yeah, how in hell can I gonna fix this? And then 2 days later I got a phone call from a guy that told me like, I got a package from you, where did you live? So I told him where I live. And then when I was home from work, he met it at the front of my door with the package, and he gave it to me, and then he left, and then I opened it, and there were my foil brainstorms. To stay in the cantrip lane, next up are the ponders. Those were the original printings of Ponder, the Lorwyn versions. I know that they reprinted the Ponder in old school border foil. When they first came out, I was pretty close on buying them, but I wasn't sure because I tried to keep the theme of first printed foil in the deck, and of course these new ones aren't the first printed, but they look older, but they aren't older, so I was really in conflict with it. But when I could order them, they had a specific price, and then after a few weeks they doubled, and I was like, okay, I'll stick with these ones for now. Maybe in the future I'll upgrade them, but I'm also happy with this one. It's more the classic Ponder. The next card is the Expressive Iteration. It fits nicely into the cantrip cartel of UR Delver. There is some hate for this card at the moment. Together with Murkite, people want to get it banned. It also appears in some control decks, and yeah, it's not really taking over the format, but it's played a lot. One of the all-time Legacy staples, the Force of Will. It keeps Legacy in check, especially the glass cannon decks. So it probably is a stay forever card in Legacy. Funny story about this Force of Will is that I was checking Magic Card Market quite a while, getting a good deal on these Force of Wills. Then Joris actually sent me a message on WhatsApp like, oh, there's a really good playset for a good price on Magic Card Market at the moment. So it's like, yeah, I'm not sure. And then he sent a message 5 minutes later that, oh, they're already sold. They're not on Magic Card Market anymore. So I was really frustrated and kind of angry with myself that I didn't click on that good deal. And then I think 10 minutes later, Joris is saying, oh, they're back again. Buy it now. And all my doubt of buying them were gone. I just insta-clicked them and buy them. And then Joris later told me that he actually put it into his cart just to annoy me. Yeah, at the moment I wasn't really happy about it, but I think it was a good thing. It was a good buy, and maybe because of that he took all my doubt away to buy them. And maybe I waited a few more days if he didn't do that, and maybe they actually got bought by somebody. So yeah, thanks Joris for forcing me to buy Force of Wills. Force of Will really goes good together with the classic Days. I think it's one of the most hated counterspells in Legacy for a long time. It's also kinda on the ban watch list. People are complaining, but I think it will never be banned because it's really a Legacy staple. Also, funny story is that I actually a long time ago collected sets with my brother, and Nems is one of the earliest sets I ever completed, just non-foil, just for the collecting part. And maybe with opening a lot of boosters, what we did back in the day, I probably found foil Daisies and just traded them away for nothing because I didn't know what they were. I hold them quite dear, the Daisies in general, and especially my foil Daisies. And the last counterspell in the deck is the Force of Negation. It's the newest addition to the classic Force of Will and Days. It really fits well by being, I guess, the 5th Force of Will. It does have a downside that it doesn't counter creatures, but still it's a good addition in the counter package. Next up are the burn spells. We start with the classic Lightning Bolt. These are the Judge promos. I had the M10 versions quite a while because the price tag of these were kind of crazy for commons, just like the Brainstorm and the Daisies. And I think it was a good investment because based on the current prices, yeah, they're even harder to buy now. Of course you can play 5 Lightning Bolts, but the best next thing is the Chain Lightning. This isn't the original foil Chain Lightning, because the original was in, I think it was a dual deck or some sort of deck where there were all foil burn spells in them, but I prefer this version over that one. This deck also plays 2 Mishra's Bubbles. I had the previous version from this also quite some time, and upgrading them to Cold Snap really took some time, mainly because of the price differences from the newer version and the original version. So these are the original Cold Snaps. It really fits with Dragon's Rage Chandler to get the Delirium going. A deck is nothing without lands, so also Delver plays lands. We start with the fetches. Classic Scalding Tarn. These are the original printings of the Scalding Tarn foil. Next up are the Misty Rainforest, also the original Zendikar printings. All the fetches in this deck are 2-offs, mainly because of Surgical Extraction and cards that attack specific named lands. This deck also plays 2 Flooded Strands. These are the Judge promos. They kind of fit nice with the Force of Wills. And the reason why I got these over the original foils is that they fit the layout. The card layout is exactly the same as the original Misties and Scalding Tarns. So it fits the theme better. The last fetches in this deck are the Flooded Strands. Again, the Judge promos. It kind of is a cohesive look for all the fetches. You can't play 5 Volcanics, but you can play the best next thing, and that's a Steam Vents. It's of course not as good as a duel, but it does fit the role quite well of having a 5th duel in the deck. This is the original printing from Steam Vents. This deck also plays basics. In this case it's a basic island. It's from the Arena event, you could say, in around 2000. I actually won this card. I play at the Eppo in Eindhoven. And if you have 3 matches, you can just write it down on a paper, say that you have 3 matches and get signatures. You go back to the counter and you hand in the paper with your DCI number, and then a week later or 2 weeks later you got a random foil basic. And the event runs for a few weeks. I think I got 2 islands and a swamp, and this is one of these islands that I didn't buy them, I actually played Magic for it. The next land is Mystic Sanctuary. I think it's one of the latest inclusions in the lands of this deck. There are a few tricks with this card. One of course is to get the lethal with a Lightning Bolt, so you can fetch this card and then next turn play Lightning Bolt. Looping Expressive Iterations is also pretty good for the card value. And with Daze, because it's an island, you can actually return it to your hand and then play it next turn and again get an effect. So it's a good toolbox that really helps. More like the mid to end game from Delver. Next up is another classic, the Wastelands. These are the play reward foils. Especially with old foils, sometimes you have like what they call a foil break line. Some people like it, I kind of dislike it because it doesn't fit the overall theme. When I got these 4 Wastelands, one actually had that foil break line that I didn't originally see in the pictures that were added to the seller. But I actually found somebody who preferred break lines over non-break lines, so I could trade them 1-on-1 to get the 4 foil Wastelands without break lines. The last lands are the duels, in this case 4 volcanic islands. They're actually called Îles Volcaniques, if I say that correctly, because they're French, 4 black bordered duels. Of course they're not foil, because they cannot be foil, but I guess having them black bordered is kind of like an upgrade of the original duels. I ordered them at Carta Papa at Magic Card Market. I think it was one of my most scariest buys ever, because it was a lot of money that was sent to a different country in the hopes that they actually sent the cards, but they arrived quite quickly actually in good order, so I'm really happy that that deal went as intended. Next up is the Fletcher Storm, a good sideboard counterspell that is used quite often in Legacy. This is actually the first foil printing. It originally was printed in Commander and it didn't have a foil version. The sideboard also includes the Force of Negation, that's the second in the entire deck. It fits again nicely with the Force of Wills. If you sideboard these in, you can actually play 6 Force of Wills in a way, and it really gets the combo decks. This also turns Delver into really the combo police. Another Nemesis classic, the Submerge. Good option in the sideboard, especially for the Merit Lage and some other crazy creatures you can bounce. A good trick is to bounce in response to fetch land so that they actually shuffle the top card away, so they shuffle the creature away. Next up are red blast effects. I got a red elemental blast and 2 pyroblast. Really a sideboard classic, especially in the heavy blue meta that's called Legacy. Some versions actually play 1 main as well, so it's a really good sideboard card in Legacy. Because of all the non-basics in Legacy, I also play a Prize of Progress in the sideboard. There's a funny story about Prize of Progress a few years back in Mol Masters. It's a Legacy tournament in Belgium. I was in a win and in, so if you win you go to the top 8. And I Price of Progress the opponent for 8 damage. That was lethal. He was playing Eldrazi, and he actually has a wasteland or wasted land. It's a basic land actually. I didn't know that, so I set Price of Progress for 8. He said, okay, well then I'm dead, and he almost scooped. Then he checked his lands like, oh wait, but waste or what it's called is a basic land, and I actually really didn't know it, and he almost forgot it as well. So it's like, yeah, so I'm not dead. So the Price of Progress was for 6, and he survived. And then next turn he hit me for lethal and actually kicked me out of the tournament. So yeah, it's a little bit of mixed feelings about the card Price of Progress. This deck also plays 2 sweepers in the sideboard, Rough and Tumble and End of Festivities. I'm still not sure which one is better. This is actually a good combination of a 1 damage sweeper and a 2 damage sweeper. This deck also plays some Artifact Hate in the sideboard, especially for 8 cast and some other strong artifact decks. This deck plays Meltdown. It's the other non-foil in this deck. There isn't any foil printing of this card. I'm thinking of maybe getting it like altered in a way that it is foil. There's some good people that can actually make them look really cool foil. So that's something for in the future that I probably will upgrade. The last cards in the sideboard are the Graveyard Hate. We've got 2 Surgical Extractions and the Gravedigger's Cage. With these 3 cards you're pretty covered for graveyard tragedies. This concludes the showcase of my foil Ura Delver deck. If you want to see this deck in action, you can check out our Discord or our YouTube. The links are in the description. If you want to see it live, you can of course join our Twitch. This concludes the showcase of my deck. If you have any questions, you can post in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer it. Thanks for watching. So Ura Delver is of course the deck with the 4 Delvers in it. There's a cat.
Oh, je had verwacht natuurlijk.
Op zich niet zo, nee.
Kom. Niet op de goede tijd, Lily.